And going back to some of the contract stuff, what is the biggest contract you ever negotiated? Maybe it's something recently too you can't speak on, but
Yeah, I mean, I probably, yeah. I mean, music or sports? Sports, it would, I mean, there's so many. I don't know. As far as the biggest dollar, I don't know. I don't even know if I can figure that out. Probably the one that I would say is the most industry changing would have been, I mean, I definitely did some stuff in golf.
maybe a year-to-year basis. How
Recently,
many
Wyndham Clark just taking him off PXG, and
That was
Rob and I,
so cool.
leaving a 7-figure deal that his agency before he came to us and going to zero money with Titleist, and now I can promise you he's not zero money with Titleist anymore.
That's
and what we've done
crazy.
off course with him
crazy.
when he did what he's supposed to do is millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in deals. I would say what I'm most proud of is just always just changing and elevating the industry when I was doing it, and even as recent as Ken Roxon when that Honda deal. It's still to this day the only guaranteed contract in sports, in motorsports. Right place, right time. Honda, KTM, Kawasaki that year. Everybody and their mom wanted Ken Roxon. And KTM offered the most money, and Honda said, but they wouldn't guarantee the contract. And that was my learnings from baseball and everything. I'm like, why does baseball players, Giancarlo Stanton just got $313 million. That's how old this long was. We represented him. And he's guaranteed whether he ever plays again to get $313 million. But a guy goes and races Supercross and motocross, and there's injury clauses and there's all these kind of things. And by the way, that year Stanton caught a pitch in the face and didn't play for a whole year. It's like it's not like the sport's not dangerous too. Like
Right
shit can
after that
happen.
call,
You can
yeah.
walk across the street and get injured.
And KTM's going through a little bankruptcy too right now.
Yeah,
right?
but this is years ago, and KTM really wanted Kenny back on the brand. He was with RCH Suzuki leaving, and Honda gave me a guaranteed contract. And by the way, timing worked. He went to the Stedman Clinic and didn't race for 2 years. He was guaranteed at that time the highest paying contract in the industry, but no injury clause, no nothing. So even as I've had deals that were bigger in the heyday, like Chad Reed or even the deal Ricky did with his agent, they might have been bigger deals. But when Chad got hurt or Ryan Villapilito got hurt, you're darn right those teams didn't always pay him. And there was no guarantee they had to continue to pay them. And so for me, that's the proudest moment, not the proudest, but one of getting Kalia Moniz fair pay. She made money at Adidas when I did that I don't even know that any surfer is paid that kind of money for shoes. And I didn't look at her as a female. I looked at her as, hey, she's the most marketable thing across 3 verticals. She can be a surfer, a model, an athlete, a trainer, whatever you want.
And how do you put these prices on these athletes? Is it the brands that are kind of throwing numbers around, or how do you get the most money out of these brands or drink companies, or how do you push the boundaries on them?
I mean, fair deal. I think, look, very different when I started than it is now. Nowadays I am blessed it's a much more mature industry across everything. All brands are very educated too, but it goes back to, again, the power of no, having clients that trust you. And I've been lucky to be around a lot that even by default, whether they want it or not, they just said no because they were. Travis has said no more than anybody. It's just because he didn't want to do more. And then I come back and say, well, no just got us $1.5 million a year. And he'd be like, okay, yes, something like that. So it's definitely a lot of times now I will put it on the brand to say what's good for you and let's go from there and get creative. Equity was something I brought in years and years ago, so I like the equity play. And I've had clients do very well with that instead of cash when you can afford to do that. Ken Roxon's a good example of that. Ricky Fowler is a good example of that. There's a lot of athletes. Klay Thompson did a lot of that. But I think also that, the main thing is competition. If you've got multiple brands that want an athlete or a musician even, the deal is different. So it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
I think the creativity side, a lot of my team members or past team members, is what we always try to do. Is like, okay, it's a good deal, but, quick story, I represented a hockey coach, and I don't think it's ever been done from what he said, is not only is he the highest paid hockey coach now, but I got him jet hours. Nobody had asked. He's like, wait, you just got me jet hours? I'm like, yeah, well, nobody else asked. And I had done that in golf or other sports. Once again, just, that mutual admiration society you have to have from learning from other agents or managers or other worlds. And the funny story goes with that is after that, because the GM and the CEO of the hockey team, they see those deals, and then all of a sudden the CEO and his new deal's like, well, I want jet hours.
How many
So
hours is
and
it?
then you change the industry. It's a budget thing, right? You get, they give you X amount of dollars a year to use it, and then not for big. He could use it for personal or business or whatever he wants. So,
I was gonna say, could you lend an hour? Or
and the
something?
reason I knew that is I knew the coach well enough that he traveled a lot personally in his summer home, and it was a long flight with family and kids, and he was also he's such a conservative guy that he was never one that wanted to really spend the money on his own, even though he could afford it. So I think it's listening to your clients, listening to what the brands want. My big thing too is when you do a really great deal with a brand is be proud of how long it lasts, because that means both parties walked away a little bit, all right, it's a good deal. No one walked away going, fuck yeah, I got that guy, or girl, whatever, you know? And I think that's, the longevity I've had with Scheckler, with Red Bull, which is a couple decades, or Pastrana until it was time. I mean, he changed to coffee. He didn't drink energy drinks anymore. But he could always go back there. That's how much of a great relationship we exited.